Morning everyone. So we're going to come into another hockey-specific workout brought to you from Hockey for Heroes, Hockey at Home with the Experts, sponsored by Jaffa. So I just want to take a couple of minutes now for you guys to like and share the video. Let's get as many people up and moving as possible this Saturday morning. And then I'm just going to take a bit of time just to explain what the workout's going to look like. So strength and conditioning, super important for any sports player, but in particular hockey, because we're in that really bent over, closed off position a lot of the time, and there's a lot of single leg, a lot of change of direction. So these sessions are going to be geared up more towards that to help you just be a little bit more robust and a little bit more resilient. Then by the time we get back into playing the season, and hopefully lockdown finishes in time for pre-season. So the layout of the workout is going to be very similar to last week's. But if you weren't here last week, we're just going to do a standard warm-up that feel free to steal and use when you're back at your clubs. Then after the workout, then we're going to come into what's called ESD or conditioning, so that's energy system development. So that's just going to be kind of like a little bit of a high intensity start to the beginning of the session. I want that to be our focus. So we're going to put that right at the beginning of the session, so you've got the most amount of energy, most amount of focus to smash that bit nice and hard. Then we're then going to come into a strength circuit after that. There's going to be 3 rounds of some single leg and some core exercises. And then after that, then we're just going to come into a cool down, a bit of kind of calming down, breathing, and a little bit of stretching. As I mentioned before, we're going to be doing a live Q&A straight after the workout at about 11 o'clock. So if you've got any questions around training, nutrition, or recovery, think of them now, pop them in the comments box, and we will answer them then at 11 o'clock. So let's jump straight into our warm-up. Let's kind of get our heart rate up. Let's get ourselves moving this Saturday morning. So we're just going to start off with what's called a pulse raiser, very similar to what we did last week. So all I want you to do is in your 2 meter by 2 meter space, I want you to grow as tall as you can, arms up as high as you can. I want you to reach up and just kind of move around in that space. And then I want you to bring those arms down, a little bit more of an athletic position. Again, just kind of getting a little bit more side to side, forward and back. If you've got members of family, brothers and sisters, kind of dodge in and out of them. See if you can duck underneath them, maybe throw in the odd block tackle here and there, the odd jab tackle, moving side to side. Okay, then I want you to get as low and as small as you possibly can, so we can have hands on the floor, just moving around into there. Use up all of that space you possibly can, okay, without knocking anything over. And then we come straight back up again. Then to be nice and tall, reach up as high as you can, moving around. And then lastly, then back down into that nice athletic position. Just imagine you're playing hockey, okay, just kind of putting in some of those tackles, a little bit of a side to side, a little bit of an Indian dribble, moving around into there, okay. To get your heart rate up a little bit, okay. Then the stretches and stuff like that are used as well to get your heart rate up as well. So we're going to kind of flow through these, and try and keep yourself moving as much as you can. So we're going to come into a walkout, into a down dog. So I'm going to do this sideways on. Try and keep your legs as straight as you can. If you need to bend your knees, it's not a problem. You're going to walk out. It's a nice plank position. And then you're going to sit into a down dog, back. Okay, stand up nice and tall. We're going to do 3 more of those. Okay, so try and keep your legs as straight as you can. Core engaged, nice and solid. And then reach your tailbone up to the sky, heels down to the floor. Sit back, core engaged. Walk those hands back up. Nice and tall. Okay, so you're going to walk around into there, raise that tailbone into there, stand back up. Okay, and we're just going to do one more into there, sit in, reach that tailbone up towards the sky, and then come back up. Again, okay, just before we come into the next one, just gonna make sure you guys can see all of what I'm doing. Next one then, exactly the same as last week, come into that world's greatest stretch. My absolute favourite stretch, back down into that plank position, drive that leg up as high as you can, take your elbow, reach down as low as you can, you're gonna reach up towards the sky, come back down in that plank position, switch legs, instead drive that elbow down towards the sky, down to the floor, reach up, back down to that plank position, swap sides. I'm just gonna start picking up the pace a little bit into here. Just kind of get those hips open up that thoracic spine. Super important for rotations in hockey. Hips need to be nice and mobile so you can get low, so you can focus on your skills. You can make good strong tackles. Just going to do one more on this other side and open up. Cool. Then this one, you're going to either need your hockey stick or your umbrella. All you're going to do is you're going to come into your athletic position, one hand at the top of the stick, one hand at the bottom. You can come into there, you're going to reach up as far around as you can into there, as if you're digging a hole into there. So you're just going to feel a big stretch come through that shoulder, through your back. Again, we want this upper part of your spine to be nice and mobile. When we're coming and playing hockey, the more mobile your upper back is, the less pressure you're going to have coming through your lower back. So if you are experiencing lower back pain when you play hockey, I suggest addressing some of that mobility that's coming through that rib cage in the upper part of the spine. I'm going to finish off on one more. Everyone has probably got nice tight hip flexors from sitting at home, working at home, and from playing hockey, from being in this position the whole time. So all you need to do is take a knee, grab that hockey stick or that umbrella, you push it into the floor, and then all you're going to do, imagine you've got a set of headlights on your hips. You're going to try and drive those headlights all the way up towards the sky while pushing as hard as you can into that umbrella or that hockey stick. You should feel a big stretch come through the front of that quad and up into the hip flexor here. So we're going to carry on pushing for 3, 2, 1. We work here and swap sides. So again, imagine you've got a set of headlights on the front of your hips. Drive that hockey stick into the floor. Again, you're going to try and get those headlights all the way up to the sky. Squeeze everything as tight as you can. Core should be tight. Glutes should be tight. Really trying to open up the front of those hips. It's going to be a bit of a theme of today's session. Cool. We'll come out of that. That should feel really good down the front of those quads and those hip flexors. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to come into that energy system development, okay, or that conditioning. Similar to last week, but we've extended the time, okay, and made everything just a little bit more difficult. The same as last week though, go within your limits. If you need to slow down, that's absolutely fine. If you need to pick the pace up because you're fitter, you find it a little bit easier, that's absolutely fine too. I want everyone to be working at their 100%. Okay, so rather than ice skated the last time, we're going to throw in what's called a jab tackle. Okay, try and get you used to decelerating through these quads here. Okay, so what you're going to do is you step out to the front, back, nice little quick bit of footwork, back, into there, back, into there, back. Okay, that's going to be the first exercise. And then this week, instead of those fast feet, okay, we're going to bring a little bit more joints into play. Okay, and we're just going to do high knees. So you're going to come into there, you're going to drive those knees nice and high, into there, pump those arms as high as you can. Okay, so those are going to be the 2 exercises. We're going to do 30 seconds of hard work with a 20-second rest. 6 rounds, exactly the same as last week, okay? Just going to get the timer set up, grab a little sip of water if you need it. Okay, and then we're going to get cracking. Okay, so everyone ready? 2, 1. Okay, so we're going to come into a little jab tackle into there. Again, a lot of you said last week, helps you to visualize some sort of hockey scenario. Okay, so imagine you reaching in, jab tackle, reaching in, block tackle down there. Nice flat sticks. Just going to keep popping in. Use that leg. Should be nice and solid. Big pushback. Nice and solid. Big pushback. Keep that core nice and tight into there. Good. Okay, we're going to get a 20-second rest. I'll turn this up so you guys can hear it a little bit more. Okay, then we're going to come into those high knees. We're going to be nice and tall and drive nice and hard. Make sure we're using those arms as well. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Okay, let's go to hump into there. Good. Harder you drive the arms, harder those legs are going to work. Stay nice and tall. Try not to crumple over. Nice and tall. Pump those arms into there. Good work, guys. Okay, we've got another 10 seconds to go. Then you want to put in angles like this. Yeah, keeping here tight. Try not to let that leg round you over. Okay, we've got 20-second rest again, and we're going to come back into little jab tackles, little block tackles in there. Aim of the game here is to try and stay as low as you possibly can, as stiff as you can, and as explosive as you can. So 3 things: low, stiff, explosive. Let's go. Get into there. Good. Nice and stiff. Nice and stiff. And so what I mean by stiff is I'm not collapsing in. I'm collapsing in. I'm saying here, I'm bang, into there. So then if I'm carrying with the ball, got my chest up, got my head up, or if I'm making that tackle, I can easily change direction. Opposed if I'm crumpled, it's going to take me more energy. It's going to cost me my vision and to change direction. 20 seconds, come back into those high knees. I want you guys to think about this core, keeping that nice and tight. Again, as I said last time, that height of that knee should be dictated by if you can keep here tight, okay? You should be crumpling over, nice and tall, and pump. Okay, just pump those arms. Use those arms as a driver for the knees. Core nice and tight. Here we go. Good. We should be transmitting force through this core. As these arms are pumping, it's kind of making like a spring type action through the core. That's translating then into your lower body. Okay, so we're going to come back in 20 seconds, back into our little jump tackles, okay? 10 seconds. Get that air in. Here we go, big 5. So again, everything nice and tall, keep that chest up. Here we go. So there, back into there. Good. Nice and tall. If you want to, come into a little bit of a carry-in or pass position at the top. Jab tackle, we're in a block tackle into there. Okay, whatever helps you being able to push nice and hard the last couple of seconds. Awesome. Okay, 20 seconds, and we're back into those high knees. Again, the whole time, this core should be working hard as you can. Harder here works, less here works. Bit of force you're going to get transferred from upper to lower. Okay, here we go. Nice high knees. Nice and aggressive push off the floor. Good. Again, there shouldn't be any crumpling or sinking, okay? It should be bounce, 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 bounce into there. If you can't do that fast, slow the movement down. Make sure you're hitting these positions. The more you do it, it's the same as any practice, the more it will translate over into your game. Cool. That's the end of the energy system development phase, or the conditioning phase. Grab a little sip of water, Again, and we're then going to move into the strength phase. Nice. Cool. So exactly the same as last time. Okay, I'm going to demonstrate the movements, give you some key coaching points. Then I'm going to set up the timer. Okay, and then we're going to do each movement for a minute with about a 10-second transition time. For single leg stuff, you're going to do it all on one leg, and then you're going to swap legs. Okay, so this is where the hockey stick comes in. So first one's going to be a lateral lunge. All right, so this is kind of like level 1 movement. Nice and wide. Okay, you can put some weight on that hockey stick if you're going to struggle, and you're going to use that then to sit back, okay, and push those hips forwards into there. Okay, if that's too easy, again, you can use that hockey stick then and sit back without the support, or you can level it up again, okay, and come into more of a rebound, so into there, rebound up into there. Okay, so same as last time. Pick a level that suits you. Give the hardest one a go. If you need to scale it all the way back down, that's absolutely fine. Okay, but when you work in at your 100%. Second exercise then, it's going to be nice and simple. It's going to be a side plank. Again, level 1 is going to be half side plank. Okay, so knees at 90 degrees, pushing knees into the floor. Okay, and trying to reach up towards the sky. If that's too easy, we're going to come into full side plank. That's too easy and we want a little bit more of a challenge. You're going to take this hand, thread the needle, and open up. Thread the needle and open up into there. Okay, and then last exercise is going to be a nice and simple glute bridge. So a lot of us have got lazy bums. That's why we end up with lower back problems and tight quads. So what you're going to do is you're going to roll up into there, roll up into there. If that's too easy, you want a little bit more of a challenge, you're going to come into this crab position. You're going to alternate each side. Reach over, into there, reach over. Okay, that movement's still driven by the glutes, not by the lower back. Okay, so I'm going to explain everything as we go. I'm just going to set up the timer. Okay, we're going to do a minute of each exercise with a little like 10-second transition time before we get into the next exercise. Shout out to Paul Lawrence and Sean Fletcher from North Wilkes Hockey Club. Good to have you guys on board. Again, any more shout outs? Say that again. Steve Hills from Maidenhead. Again, guys, get any shout outs going. Yeah, I'll try and shout you out as much as I can. Okay, so we're going to come into that first movement now. It's going to come into that lateral lunge. Okay, so let's go. So all on one leg first. So we're going to come into there and just sit back into there. Okay, if that's too difficult, okay, and you're maybe restricted by mobility, grab that hockey stick, put a bit of weight through it, sit back, push up into there. When you push up, guys, you want to be trying to push that floor away from you. Okay, so you're going to try and push the floor away from you, and again, drive those headlights all the way up towards the sky. Again, if you want to kind of level this up, you're going to come into a rebound, pump up into there, rebound, pump up into there, rebound, pump up into there. Again, you don't want to be collapsing. Okay, you want to keep it nice and tall, keep that vision up into there. Okay, or you can just nice and simply use those arms to help drive those hips forwards. Okay, last 3 seconds. Okay, and we're going to change sides. So straight into the other side. I'm a little bit tighter on this side, so I'm going to grab this hockey stick, okay, and just make sure I'm really sitting into that movement, making sure my movement quality is as high as it can be. So just imagine you're trying to sit back into a chair, And then you're going to try and get those headlights all the way up towards the sky. Sit back into that chair and drive those headlights up towards the sky. Again, if you don't need the hockey stick, but you still want to hold it, use that to kind of facilitate that sit back movement. Or, okay, you can just come into those lateral lunge, rebounds into there, okay, but making sure keeping that chest upright, everything nice and tight, okay, nice snappy movement on the floor. Okay, so we've got the last 10 seconds. Just keep this going on these lateral lunges. Just keep on sitting back as much as you can, okay, and driving those headlights towards the sky. Good work. Okay, 10-second rest, okay, and then we're going to do 30. Then we're going to do 30 seconds on each side of this side plank, okay, so you're going to start off straight into here. So this is kind of your level 2 movement into here. If you want to make this one harder, so you're going to thread that hand through and punch it up as high as you can. This is too difficult, or maybe you're feeling a lot come through that shoulder. Pop those knees down. So I'm at 90 degrees here. I'm going to drive those knees in, and again, I'm trying to get those headlights facing as far away from you as possible. Okay, and now we're going to swap sides. Okay, so come on to the other side, into there. Okay, up into that side plank. As hockey players, we play a one-sided sport, so it's not uncommon for you to have one side that's a lot stronger than the other. Okay, so for me, this side's a little bit harder than the other side. I spend a lot of time carrying the ball in that right hand and do a lot of my reverse. Okay, 10 seconds. Okay, then we're going to come into these glute bridges. Simple exercise, but very easy to get wrong. Okay, so we're just going to come onto the floor here, and I want you to imagine peeling your t-shirt off the floor, each section by section, making a sandwich between your glutes and your ribs at the top, and then rolling back down. So I'm pinning each part of my t-shirt back down to the floor. My shorts then are the last thing to touch the floor. I'm going to roll back up into, again, peeling that t-shirt off, core nice and tight at the top, really feeling those glutes as hard as I possibly can at the top, and again, rolling back down. Okay, if you're doing the crab reaches into here, you're going to use this arm as a driver. You're just going to try and come as far over as you can, sit back down, switch arms, okay, and drive as far over as you can. Again, trying to keep feet in contact with the floor and trying to push that floor as far as away from you as possible. And sit back down again and swap sides. Okay, that's one round done. 10 seconds. Again, we're going to come back into those lateral lunges. Kelly from Falmouth Hockey Club, good to see you watching. Mary King from South Berks Hockey Club. And Rebecca Chester from Alton Hockey Club. Keep those shout outs coming. I'm going to try my very best to multitask. In my case, probably triple task. Something I'm good at. So we're going to come into these lateral lunges. Okay, this is your level 3. This is too difficult for you. Okay, we're just going to be sitting back, driving those hips forwards, sitting back. Imagine with your hands, imagine you're trying to grab the air and pull it towards you. It's going to help get your hips facing forwards. You should feel this through glutes and hamstrings, a little bit in the quads. Like here's going to be the main driver and the main focus for us today. So again, we're just going to be sitting back, grab that air, get those headlights pointing towards the sky, sit back down and grab in. Okay, 10 seconds. Okay, then I'm going to swap sides. Again, pick a level. It's going to allow you to work at 100%. Okay, so top level, level 3, it's going to be these explosive rebounds into there, pushing up, sit in, pushing up into there. Again, you want to come up into a nice sprint position at the top, into there. Okay, level 2 is just going to be nice and simple. Just going to sit back, drive forward. Okay, level 1, if you're really struggling with that, you have a hockey stick or a sturdy umbrella, and you're just going to sit back into that chair and put a little bit of force through the hockey stick to help you really facilitate driving those headlights towards the sky. You're working this leg, but again, you should feel like a nice, comfortable-ish stretch coming through the groin on that side. Really important for us to be nice and mobile through here. A lot of hockey takes place here, okay? So the more mobile we are through here, again, it's just going to take that pressure off that lower back. So we're going to have 10 seconds. Again, we're going to come back into our side plank variations, 30 seconds on each side. So again, I'm going to start off at level 1. So I'm going to push into here. I'm pushing my elbow as hard as I can into the ground. That's going to keep the pressure off my shoulder so I'm not collapsed up into there. Imagine you've got poison on your shoulder, okay? You're trying to get as far away from that shoulder as you can. Exactly the same with the hips. I'm trying to imagine you've got someone pushing down from the top of the hip there. You're trying to press up as hard as you can. That stays exactly the same then if I'm coming into full, if I'm coming into those pass-throughs. Okay, that's 30 seconds. Okay, we're going to swap sides. So again, we're going to start off level 1 on this side. Okay, so pushing as hard as. So again, Bertie. Bertie, Floss and Michael from Colchester, the home of the parachute regiment. Good to see you guys there. Okay, gonna change. Okay. Up next then, okay, is going to be that glute bridge. So again, I want you guys to be working as hard as you can here, trying to push that floor away from you. That's going to help engage those glutes, rolling up segment by segment by segment into there. And a nice flat line. When you're at the top, you should be able to look down there and see a nice flat line. Okay, you don't want any of this, okay, or low down it's there. So you want to roll up. Should be able to see chest down to those headlights, all the way down to your knees. Okay, and you're going to roll back down, re-engage those glutes, roll back up. Okay, crab reach is a little bit more dynamic. Principles stay exactly the same. I'm trying to push the floor away from me, drive up as high as I can into there, and reach over. I'm going to get a nice stretch come through the side of my upper body. I'm going to feel my glutes and hamstrings working as hard as I can as I reach over and sit back down. Awesome. Okay, that's the end of round 2. Okay, we've got one more round. Okay, so if you've done level 1, okay, we give level 2 a go. If you've done level 2, see if you can get level 3 go. Okay, so I'm going to come into this exposure free bounce back up into there. Again, trying to keep here as solid as I can. Okay, I don't want to see any collapsing. Okay, if you've got a logo on the front of your shirt and you can see yourself, okay, you want to be able to read that logo the whole time. Exactly the same, okay, as if you're doing level 2. Yeah, I want to be able to see that logo instead of seeing that rounding. If you are really struggling with that, as you sit back, try and reach your hands higher than your shoulders, okay? Hands up is going to mean back straight. Hands down to the ground. Yeah, it's going to mean I roll over, okay? So if you're struggling, reach those hands up towards the sky and come back down, okay? It's going to keep here nice and straight. Okay, keep this working in one unit rather than you having that kind of hinge action then at your lower back. 10 seconds. Okay, then we're going to swap sides for the last time. So again, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so if I'm going to come into those explosive jumps into there, again, same as the high knees, use those arms as a driver. Okay, I'm going to drive this arm back to there, help pull that knee up into there. Okay, and again, using those arms to help facilitate good form through the spine. And again, if I'm really struggling, or I just want to get a little bit more range, but I don't quite have it yet, give yourself a bit of a super friend there. Sit in, drive those hips forwards, sit in, trying to push that floor as far away from you as possible. Feeling a stretch come through that groin Doing the work and the force coming from here. I'm trying to drive those headlights all the way towards the sky. Okay, last round then of this core work. Again, see how it feels to come maybe to level 2 or level 3. So if I'm going to thread the needle, I'll drive up. Nothing changes from the level. The Q stays exactly the same. I'm just feeling it through here. When I imagine I've got poison on my shoulder, I'm going to bring this arm up. I'm going to try and rotate through, again with no change, through my trunk. There. I'm going to punch up. And imagine someone's going to try to lift me up towards the sky. And then thread through. Imagine I've got a big giant and lift me up towards the sky. Yeah, that's 30 seconds. We're going to swap sides. We're going to do exactly the same on the other side. Okay, it's going to come to level 2. All right, exactly the same as what I just said. Poison on the shoulders. And imagine I've got someone pressing down on here, trying to drive up into them, pushing as hard as I possibly can. Okay, don't let this weight drag you down. You want to be pressing up as high as you can every time. Okay, 10 seconds. Okay, then we're going to come into those glute bridges, okay, or those crab reaches. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Okay, up into those glute bridges, nice and tight. And roll down, roll up, roll down, roll up. Okay, you should feel as much here as you do here. You're feeling it in your lower back. Try not to come up as high. Make sure at the bottom, you're kind of trying to get those headlights shining in your face first before you push the floor away and drive those hips up. Exactly the same for that crab reach. Okay, we're going to try and push that floor away. I'm going to engage through the glutes first. And reach over and sit back down and change sides. Push that floor away. Coming up through the glutes. Nice and tight. Over the top. Sit back down. Again, reach up into there. Sit back down. Okay, last 3, 2, 1. Great stuff. Okay, take 10, 20 seconds. Grab yourself a bit of a drink. Again, I'm going to come into the same sort of breathing as we did last week. So find a position that you find comfortable. A nice kind of restorative position, I suppose, is here with one hand over the top. And all we're going to do, okay, we're just going to nose breathe to start off with. Okay, so just try and take breaths in through your nose. Big long exhale. Keep that going. Okay, so nice big exhale in through your nose. And then try and exhale just a fraction longer than you inhale. Breathing is like an incredible system, has the ability to kind of excite your nervous system, and also has a great ability to be able to down-regulate that nervous system and let you chill out. Okay, so again, another great recovery technique, and very simple, is exhale more than you inhale. Okay, great example of that, like if you find someone who's hyperventilating, right, that's the extreme. Okay, they're inhaling way more than they're exhaling. Okay, that's the right end of that scale. Okay, so if you're kind of a little bit tired after training or whatever, just try and breathe out a little bit more than you breathe in. So you guys should now be nice and chilled out. The stretches this week are kind of the stretches that I use after a game. You have coaches and stuff like that obviously want you to cool down the stretch, but they also want to do a debrief. So there's no real point in having all your players laying around on the ground. You don't have a lot of eye contact and stuff like that. So these stretches are all geared towards like hitting those important areas, but also allowing you to have a bit of a debrief after a game or a training session. So the first one is a half straddle. Okay, so you just have both legs out in front of you, and then you're just going to take one leg, pop it round behind you as far as you feel comfortable. And then just from there, then you're just going to sit back, okay, until you feel a stretch come through here. Okay, stretch should be in the front of that quad there. If you're feeling any pressure or anything like that in your knee, change the angle. Okay, It doesn't need to look exactly the same as me. My body is completely different dimensions to you. Find a place where you find it comfortable and you feel the stretch in that target area there. So you're just going to hold for another 5 seconds on this leg. Okay, then we're going to change legs into there. Let's just change legs. Yeah, and then slip back into here. Okay, these stretches are great. They're kind of nice and chilled out. You don't need to be active. You can just like pop yourself into the pose. Okay, great for after games and great for a coach who wants to kind of get you in a big circle and kind of it's easy for you to talk so you can engage in that debrief, but you can also speed up that recovery by getting these stretches in straight after. Okay, second one then, just nice and easy. Toes, soles of your feet together. Okay, and you're just going to sit up nice and tall. And we're just going to hit that groin area again. This appears to be kind of like a bit of a limitation for hockey players. It's either weak or it gets tight. If it's tight, then I can't get into those long lunges as much, which means something else then has to compensate, right? So if I'm lunging over to that side and I don't get the range from here, then 9 times out of 10 my lower back is going to have to grab that extra range. I'm going to overreach, and again it just means that lower back is just working a little bit too hard. Okay, from this position then we're just going to come simple into a nice cross shin position. Okay, so just sat on the floor. Okay, and if you use the hands behind you, okay, you're just going to sit into it. Some of you might be able to go over a little bit further. Some of you might be like me and just be a little bit more upright. You should feel the stretch come into this hip up through that IT band, maybe a little bit in your lower back, but that's okay. We need our lower back to be flexible as well as strong when we need it. So again, then we're just going to swap sides into there, and into there. Another issue that we tend to have as hockey players is a little bit of knee pain or something like that. 9 times out of 10, that's usually coming from your IT band, which is this big leather strap that kind of comes down the side of your leg there. That then gets tight and starts tugging on your knee. So this is a great stretch just to alleviate that and just kind of mobilize those hips and stuff like that a little bit. And just a general rule of thumb with injuries, tightness and stuff like that, 9 times out of 10 it's coming from either above or below the joint. So say like I've got a knee issue, 9 times out of 10 it's going to be coming from my hip or from my ankle. If I've got a lower back issue, 9 times out of 10 it's going to be from my hip or my thoracic. Very rarely is there an actual issue at that particular joint. So if you are experiencing some pain or some mobility issues, try addressing kind of like above or below the joint, see whether that helps out. So again, we had a few technical issues at the beginning, so we've run over a little bit. So if anyone needs to shoot off, thanks for joining us. Thanks for pumping in loads of comments. Thank you for liking and sharing the video. And we're going to run into a few questions in the morning, in a minute. But if you do need to shoot off and you've got any questions that you can't field at the moment, either put them onto the Hockey for Heroes page or message me directly. So I'm Matt Alexander. You can go on my personal Facebook page or my business one, which is Matt Alexander Strength Coach, or via Instagram, which is Matt_Alexander PT. But we're going to come into a few questions now that I think Joel's got for me. Ooh, it's a great question. So the question was, what's the value of ice baths for recovery? So the whole idea behind it really is, imagine this is your blood vessel, right? You start doing exercise and stuff like that, and your body wants to get all those nutrients, that oxygen and stuff like that to that muscle that's working as hard as it possibly can to give you that performance. Your capillaries and stuff like that start to dilate, and you get what's called vasodilation, right? So they get bigger and start flushing that area with as much nutrients and oxygen and stuff as it needs. When you come into an ice bath, the exact opposite happens, right? So the cold starts happening and your body then says to itself, I need to protect all of my vital organs. So it starts shutting down to extremities, which means the opposite happens, right? So you get vasoconstriction. So that starts getting smaller and you restrict the blood flow to the muscles. Now the question is that a good thing? Surely I want kind of more nutrients and more flow to those muscles. But then what tends to happen then after that is then you then get vasodilation again, and then helps them flush those nutrients back to the muscles. So I suppose long story short, after a bit of that background, is any type of recovery protocol is based around increasing blood flow to that muscle. So yes, have an ice bath, but that ice bath then needs to be paired with a warm treatment. So instead of perhaps an ice bath, which kind of logistically can be a bit of a pain, depending on kind of what level you work at, maybe a better idea is to have a contrast shower, right? So you pop yourself in the shower, you let it run over you a cold temperature for 2 to 3 minutes, and then you then switch that temperature then back to hot. And then what you then get then is your body going through constriction and dilation, constriction, dilation, which then just increases the blood flow then to all those muscles, which again is the same principle of having a massage, foam rolling, anything like that, Theraguns. All they're trying to do is they're trying to get your body to increase blood flow to that muscle. So the blood's going to be carrying nutrients, it's going to be flushing out like those toxins, that lactic acid, and any type of waste products that you've had from the exercise. So massive benefits from ice baths, but like it needs to be paired with that warm treatment as well. And I'd say personally, like from a logistic point of view and probably from a management point of view from players, contrast showers are probably a better way to go. The only other benefit of an ice bath, if you're like us and we travel around with a massive paddling pool, it's actually a bit of fun with the team, a little bit of team bonding, trying to get everyone in an ice bath after a game, or if it's a summer tournament, you sit in an ice bath and a nice weather. But yeah, I'd say logistically and kind of like getting more bang for your buck, I'd probably go for contrast showers rather than jumping into an ice bath. Hopefully that answers your question. Okay, so another great question from Jill Hall. The question was, how much is too much for juniors? So I think I got this right. So you're playing 3 games and 3 training sessions in a week. So 6 sessions. So 6 sessions in a week. That's quite a lot of volume. I don't know how old the athlete is, but it's going to come down to like, can they recover from it? So you don't want to constantly putting yourself into a deficit the whole time. So creating stress on the body and playing hockey and exercising creates stress on the body. So you need to be able to recover from it. Again, otherwise you're just going to end up into this downward spiral. So I would say it would depend a little bit on kind of recovery strategies and like how she's feeling. Like if she's still loving playing, she's getting enough sleep, she's eating right, like she's still excited to walk onto that pitch every single day and every single time, then I'd say great, like keep that going. Like maybe introduce like some foam rolling or a little bit of stretching or making sure you get enough fluids in and stuff like that from that side. But if on the flip side, you know, it's having an adverse effect on her mood, her sleep, 17 years old. Okay. So 17, like 6 sessions a week. I wouldn't say that that's too much to do again, but like erring on the side of making sure that you've got that balance towards recovery. It's so easy for us now to go all on one side of train, and really forget like these recovery strategies because they don't necessarily give you that instant win. I would definitely add in some sort of maybe switch one of those sessions for some strength exercises. That's just going to build robustness into our body, which is going to help stave off any injuries. But if she's looking to play for as long as she can, like the stronger you are, like the better everything is going to be. But I think probably a great idea for someone of that age, and if she's open to it, is keep a training log. Keep some sort of journal, and it could be a simple 2 or 3 questions that she does, on her notes on her phone, or it can be a paper journal of how sore do I feel today out of 10? How much energy do I have today out of 10? How ready do I feel to do exercise today? And maybe track that over a week or 2, and then reflect back on that and see where those numbers are, right? If her numbers are 8s, 9s, 10s on all of those, then great, then she's smashing it. Like you're doing so much right there. But if those numbers are kind of more 5s, 6s, and stuff like that, then maybe that's then something then for you to address with that volume. Or if she wants to keep the volume the same, then building in some more recovery strategies, or looking at supporting that with nutrition and some strength exercises. I hope that wasn't too much of a long-winded answer, but a lot of my answers are kind of, it depends. Yeah, good, next question. Ooh. Best food and drinks to have post-game. So basically, post-game, you've created some metabolic damage to your muscles, right? So any exercise, whether it's hockey, in the gym, or whatever, you're going to have a breakdown of muscle tissue. So when you break it down, you want your body to be able to rebuild that like bigger and stronger, or at least to the same level for you to be able to do it again. So that's a big part of recovery. So the way that happens is your body's got a pool of amino acids, which is essentially protein, and that pool then kind of cycles out and repairs and comes back. You want to keep yourself in a positive amino acid balance, or a positive protein balance. So you want some sort of meal or drink that has amino acids or protein in it. I would say more around kind of liquid form, because it's going to be easily digestible, rather than you walking off the hockey pitch and having a chicken breast or tofu or something like that. Like logistically, that's just going to work better. So some sort of like amino acid powder, and then you've been working super hard. Okay, so you're going to need to replenish those energy stores. So straight after the first one you're going to want to get in is carbohydrates. It's probably the one you've depleted the most. Looking at kind of like the energy system, like demands of hockey, it's going to be very much on the carb end of that. So again, you want that in a nice simple form, but you also want it to have some vitamins and minerals and stuff like that to, again, spark off that recovery process. So probably the perfect way to do it is some diluted orange juice. Orange juice is probably the second best fluid for hydration. First being skimmed milk, but if you're kind of vegan or whatever, or you're not into milk, then that's fine. The second is orange juice. So maybe a mixture of half orange juice, half water, and then sprinkle some amino acid powder in that. If that's too much admin and you're not vegan, then skimmed milk, a pint or 2 pints, depending on your size, is also a great recovery drink. You're going to have that protein in there, you're going to have some carbohydrate in there, and then plenty of liquid fluid then to help you rehydrate them after that session. That's kind of immediately after, and then kind of like 2 to 3 hours after that, you're just going to want a balanced meal. So a meal that's really well balanced in proteins, carbs, and fats, and again, just carry on hydrating until you are able to kind of pee clear again. That's a great way to tell how well hydrated you are, is kind of like looking at your urine color. Kind of want to be between clear and kind of like a straw type color. Hopefully that helps. Yeah, so another great question. So I mentioned the IT band before, and the question was, can I use something on my IT band, either a roller or a ball? So a foam roller is the perfect thing to use on your IT band. My lovely assistant is going to chuck me mine, and I'll show you exactly how to do it. So I'd suggest using a roller rather than a ball or anything. A ball is going to be super intense. If your IT band is anything like mine on this side, it's going to be tight and it's going to be quite sore to kind of get into those positions. So all you want to do is set yourself up in that side plank position. This is the leg that I'm going to try and roll. I'm going to place that at the bottom, so just above my my knee joint, and I'm going to use this hand and this foot to adjust the pressure that I have on that IT band, right? So I'm just going to roll up and down. If I find anywhere that's particularly tight or a knot, so it's going to feel like a golf ball, just want to sit onto that and just kind of gently move back and forth, and you might feel as if it kind of like melts away a little bit. And that's a good thing. If it does that, then just give it another little roll up and down into there. This, in terms of intensity of doing this, you still want to be able to breathe and talk normally. If I went like too hard and put too much pressure on that, you'll see my whole body get tense. And what I want to do is allow that body to relax, so I can get into those areas rather than my body tensing up and trying to protect that area. If that's a little bit too much effort, I think you can use, and is quite popular at the moment, is a hypervolt or a massage gun. Again, as I mentioned before, in terms of recovery, the idea of this is to increase blood flow and to try and replicate kind of like a deep tissue massage. So again, I'd simply find somewhere where I can get this muscle completely relaxed into there. Okay, you just start it up and you just kind of massage out that area. Again, finding any part there, it feels kind of like a knot that I want to work out. Just one quick thing on knots. So at some point you're going to need to do some soft tissue, so some rolling or something like that, because a knot, imagine you tying an elastic band in a knot. Like imagine that being your muscle. If you stretch that muscle, that knot's still going to stay the same, and you're just going to lengthen that muscle either side of it. So foam rolling, like using Theraguns or going for deep tissue massages, add some pressure onto that knot and kind of like unsticks those muscle fibers. So then when you do come back to stretching, you stretch the whole muscle instead of either side of it. So if you're going to kind of attack that IT band, you're going to need to attack it in both ways. So foam rolling, then stretch it, and then use that range of motion. So that extra range that you've got. So I've just rolled my my IT band. So in theory, I should have a little bit more movement there. So maybe I want to kind of do some lateral steps into there, just to kind of like re-teach my body that I have that movement available to it. So there's kind of 3 steps there really, but going back to your question again, a little bit of a long-winded answer. Yes, you can foam roll your IT band. Go gentle to start off with, because if it is tight, it is going to hurt so much. So use that leg and that arm to adjust the pressure up and down, or if you've got available like a softer foam roller, or just use your hands to kind of get in there and massage a little bit if it is a bit too sore. Hopefully that helps. Cool. So that's all the questions that we have today. So thank you again for joining. Great to be back to do a second session. So please like and share this video. Follow Hockey for Heroes across Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Also, if you've got any questions, they can come directly to me. So as I mentioned before, my name's Matt Alexander. You can find me on Facebook. You can also find me under Matt Alexander, the Strength Coach on Facebook, and also on Instagram with Matt_Alexander PT. If you've guys got any more questions, suggestions, stuff that you want to see more of in these workouts or less of on these workouts, I'm happy to talk about training nutrition until I'm blue in the face. So ping those questions across. And then just one thing from us, then really just kind of gauge a little bit of an interest from you. And again, you can message either me or Hockey for Heroes. But if any of you are at club level or an individual level would be interested in receiving strength and conditioning training programs as a club or an individual, we'd also like to hear from you to see whether that's something we can get set up as a group. But again, thank you very much for joining me, and enjoy the rest of your Saturday.